Stoughton for EMS Now. I'm here at APEX 2012 in San Diego, and I'm joined by Jason Spira from Aegis and Trevor Warren from DEC. Thanks guys for talking to me. What I wanted to talk about today was the products that you've got that are new here, but actually more importantly, why? What's led you to develop those products? Trevor, if I can start with you, a lot of DEC's product history seems to be process improvement, incremental improvement.
Yeah.
What's allowing you to develop those products? What's driving your decision making?
Well, we're showing the ProDEC closed loop system with the DEC printer machine and the SPI machine at the Apex this year. And what's driving that is customers, they want more information coming from their prints. They're being challenged by getting the miniaturization, trying to get more components on the real estate. So obviously the print accuracy is very, very crucial to the whole process. Now, by doing a closed loop with the SPI machine, we can then feed that data from the SPI, we can feed it into the DEC machine, and the DEC machine can monitor the data, and depending on how we set the software up, we can then dictate where the offset goes. So the plan is to bring the paste into the middle of the pad without any operator intervention.
Okay, makes perfect sense. What made you decide to develop ProDEC closed loop? Was it something you thought of internally, or was it just something that the customer was kind of screaming out for? We've got this machine, we've got an SPI after it. Why don't you make them work together?
That's a very good question. We had this option about 10 years ago, and we was putting the feelers out and talking to customers, and at that period of time, customers didn't really want the SPI machine to control their printing machine, and you can sort of understand that, and SPI machines were very expensive at that point in time. So we had very little come on from our customers, but since then a lot has changed. The SPI machines have come down in price, and so it was our customers that was driving this. We had this on the back burner a few years ago, and then all of a sudden customers are now saying, hold on, we need accurate printing. Yeah. And also by doing that, it takes the operator away from having to set them offsets up manually.
Jason, I think what's interesting with that is timing is everything. With any new products, you can actually be too early to the market if you can hit it right. Within your software development, how do you do that? How do you gauge? Because there must be, your guys internally must have 101 ideas of new ways to develop, new ideas. How do you gauge what should come out next, what should be in the next issue?
It's actually more our customers. I've always been fascinated by the deluge of ideas our customers bring to us at any given moment. And it is actually a big challenge to prioritize what's coming in and what's most important to the market. And then you have to look forward in time and say, what's going to be most important to them 8 months from now. Yeah. As we've seen pretty big shifts, that something 1 year at Apex that's incredibly important, 1 year later when you would have theoretically gotten the product ready is no longer of interest to anyone. So it is quite difficult, but it's an important part of our business. Yeah, and this year for the first time we've seen something on your booth we can touch and feel and we can see moving. It's been a terrible shock to us.
It's a shock
to physical
you.
Device in our booth.
A physical presence that you've got to accommodate in a booth. That's.
We had a lot of training internally. This weighs something.
This weighs. This is real, and it can be different. But what drives a company with so much depth of knowledge and strength in software to actually say, you know what, we've got to develop this piece of hardware? What does that?
That's a good question. It actually was the customers again, and it was from an angle that we didn't anticipate, and it was that. Customers are looking at an MES system that maybe might have 150, 200 terminals on the floor. The software, in many cases, when they're contemplating purchasing, the cost of the software is not the problem. The hardware infrastructure. They're talking about an awful lot of PCs, and there's secondary issues like where are we physically going to mount these, the real estate on the workstations, power consumption, now with green initiatives, and then the IT support costs. Larger OEMs actually put a large dollar value on just the support cost per year of a new PC on the factory floor. Right. So the customer said a couple things. They said, well, most of these terminals, workstations on the floor have very simple functions, scanning in, scanning out, maybe docking an inner assembly into an outer, nothing terribly complicated. We need a embedded device, a touchscreen terminal that's inexpensive and can be deployed without IT's involvement. So we developed the Enforce module to accommodate that. Yeah. And then they also took it forward to saying we need to process interlock, which is interesting about your discussion, Trevor, is how do we actually, if the Aegis system knows the process is going out of control, how do we physically stop line flow if we need to? So it achieves that. It lets our system reach into the physical world, and it also reduces IT infrastructure. So that's why we decided to develop a hardware device.
Yeah. Okay. Fascinating stuff. And in terms of what's developing next, it's interesting that there is a connection between the products that you manufacturing. One of the things that I thought was interesting is what closed loop does. It creates this kind of small software ecosystem, whereas up above that there's this larger Aegis or other player ecosystem. I guess you have to keep an eye on what these guys are doing, and these guys have to be somehow contemplating and connecting to what you're doing.
Always, and actually over the last 5 years, the equipment vendors have become much more platform open, data-wise, because it is true. Our vision of it, maybe you could add input on this, but our vision is that the machines are typically very good at monitoring things within the line.
Yeah.
Sometimes even cross-vendor.
Yeah.
But when you go above the line, the third-party vendors such as us become very important. Okay. Also, I think we can act as a middleware bridge to ERP. Right. More effectively sometimes than the machine vendor can. Yeah. And that really is a lot of our business now, is putting that pan factory, pan process visibility, monitoring, OEE across all the machines, things of that nature.
Yeah. And from your point of view, connecting up to that higher level software is
absolutely,
a big
it's
deal.
getting more and more important for our customers to be able to stand back and monitor in the whole line solution and what's going on each individual machine.
And the impact the deck machine has all the way down the line is felt. So you're actually able to impact and improve every process.
Yeah, I was talking to a customer in the UK the other week, and he was saying they want to connect not only the lines in their facility but globally. So there's one big hub in the middle of Europe sat down monitoring all the lines and all the processes.
This whole global issue, we're seeing more and more of that with your customers, where they say, do you know, actually what we have in China, we need to have in North America. We need to have exactly the same in Central Europe, and you know that works for you guys. You can support that because you have a global support network to be able to do that.
And they want to be able to move the machines around, the capital equipment around.
The machines have to move, the products have to move, the whole thing.
But the data view can't change.
Yeah, it has to look the same, and you have to be able to switch it on, and you have to not have those line outage. Last question, back from global to where we are specifically here in North America. What are you seeing in terms of customers challenging you? What are they saying are going to be the demands that you're making next year? 101 things you said from customers. What are the lead one or two?
Traceability is still a really big driver. It has been for several years now, but what we're seeing a huge movement towards is box build. The generic term people use for it is North American, European factories are all adding more and more. They want to build the entire value add.
They don't want to just stuff
boxes. But the traceability is encroaching there. Yeah. They want all the functional test data. They want the indented assembly records, like what unit went into what was pulled out during test. That's getting much more complicated.
Okay, and what are your US customers challenging you with?
I have to echo the traceability. There's a lot more interest and focus on the traceability, and as previously beforehand, we've had this suite of traceability that our customers can buy. Now they're coming at us individually and saying, well, actually, I need to trace this particular option of the machine. So it's getting very customer focused.
Very specific.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I see the roles changing, evolving into a much more of a consultative role with you as global suppliers anyway, and that seems to work very, very well. Yeah. Guys, thanks very much for your time. Fascinating conversation.
Thank you.
Good luck with the product launches. I hope it's going well downstairs, and I hope we'll talk again soon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.